A very warm good evening to you, wherever you are watching us from. Remember that this is Destiny TV, a station that impacts your life. And of course, today, as well, I always bring you this program we call Boresha Ukulima. And I always bring to you guests all over. And today I'm joined by one of our farm managers around. He will tell us more about himself. He will tell us where he works. He will tell us more about that. And I do believe that all of us are going to learn today. And on top of that, we also have a slot for you where you can interact with us. Remember that we are live on Facebook and you can follow us there and ask us a question in case you have any. To you, Mr. Kirui, yes. Tell us who you are, where you work, and before we continue with our program this evening.
Hello, and thank you very much, Ken. Thank you very much, Destiny TV. I am Kirui, like Ken has said before. I work with Meru University of Science and Technology, and I work in the Department of Agriculture. I'm in charge of the demonstration farm in the university. That is a learning farm for our students. I'm very delighted today that I've joined the Destiny family to be able to share at least a few things that regard agriculture, management, that is farm management, because that is what we do on daily basis in the university, and also share any other relevant information that our farmers could require.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kirui. You've heard, he is Mr. Kirui, and of course, and today he is the right person for us to ask questions, interact with him, and get to learn more about farm management. And to begin with, you will explain to us, tell us who is a farm manager, or what should come in our mind once we hear of this term. You'll tell us on that.
All right. A farm manager is the overall person that is in charge of a given production unit. A manager is a person that is involved especially or specifically with decision making. He is involved with planning, organizing resources with an objective in mind that would give the organization or the farm a yield at the end of the day. He looks at the inputs vis-a-vis the outputs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now what is the difference between farm? Okay, now you've explained to us who is a farm manager.
Yes.
And now what is that we call farm management?
So farm management is the act. It is that making and implementing of decisions that are involved in organizing and operating a farm for maximum production.
Okay.
Actually, the aim is usually a profit. So when you organize resources or you plan and implement certain decisions that will have an objective of getting a return out of any given investment.
So that is the desire of every farmer.
Yes.
Of course, if I desire maybe like to do production of tomato at the end of the season, I need to have produced something.
Yes.
Okay. And even before we look at the qualities of a good manager, I would love us to I would love you to tell us why agriculture. Why agriculture? Now that you've been in the field of agriculture for some time, you've been interacting with the student, you've been interacting with some other researchers, you've been doing your own research. What is the importance of being in the field of agriculture?
Basically, agriculture, like it is always said that agriculture is a backbone of our economy. The economy of Kenya and generally the economy of East Africa, maybe I can say so. Agriculture is actually where we can okay, this is where we can feed ourselves. This is where we can also get surplus and feed other people. We can get money out of agriculture. Agriculture is actually the in thing that we can do. Most of the parts of Kenya are agriculturally resourceful. And why agriculture? Is because our country, if you look at the history of our country, we have, before independence, there were a lot of grumble for the agricultural regions. If you look at Meru, where we are, if you look at Rift Valley, if you look at Western, okay, most of these areas, we have large tracts of land that can produce and give agricultural output in terms of crops, tons. If you look at Meru, for example, those settlers that were here, they established and knew that if they invested in this kind of crop, they were able to get huge returns against other places. So agriculture is the in thing. In Kenya, we have to do it. If we don't, just imagine if farmers are not doing their work, if farms are not doing their work, what would happen to this country?
There will be no food.
So that is why agriculture.
And in fact,
important.
agriculture is the field that has continued to feed us. It's an industry that ever since from March, even when some people are locked in town and the others could not even go out, but farmers have continued to feed us.
Yes, sure.
Okay, now the same point, before we proceed, I would love us to understand now. Who can, you see now, you've told us that agriculture is very important because we've been in that field, we've seen its importance. Therefore, why is it important for a farm manager to do farm records?
All right. Before we get to the farm record, I wanted to say something, Ken. That agriculture itself, it has an origin from God. If you look at Genesis, chapter number 1, verses 29, it says that I give you every seed-bearing plant. You manage it for your own good. So God said, He really commanded that I'm giving you this for food. So food has always been a problem. When you look at animal, God also says that I give you every animal on the planet. Use it for your own good. So this tells you something. That every one of us who is producing anything, you've been commanded by God. So it is a divine commandment by God Himself.
To do agriculture.
To engage yourself in agriculture.
Okay.
Produce food. Anybody who is dying out of hunger is not doing justice to himself and is also sinning.
Okay.
Especially when you have the ability, you have a good body physically, and everything else. So I come back to your point. Records are important for any good farmer, any good manager, that is, in general. You have decided to produce certain crops, or you've decided to keep certain animals. You have to know from the beginning that when you put this animal at 50,000, you've kept this animal, feeding it, treating it, washing and maintaining the animal until such a time as it begins to give you something. You have to keep record so that if the 50,000 that he used, by the end of the year, or by the end of a certain period of time, is it bringing you back some returns? So you have to keep records so that you know if it is giving you back, it's what. Records are also important for projection. Are you growing in this farm? Every farm manager who is good, he has to keep records to be able to project if he is growing or is also timing or is actually dropping. So records are very important. You have to keep records in the farm to be able also to borrow some credit. If you go to the bank right now,
Sure.
you are a farm manager and you have no record, I can promise you nobody will even look at you. Nobody will even dare give you a shell. Why? Because there is no proof that you are doing agriculture. There is no proof that you are in production.
Okay.
Yeah, in the US, for example, there are very strict systems. And farm managers are people that are highly paid in those countries. Somebody is paid even $1 million to be able to manage. So records are very important because you will see if you want more capital investment in your farm, you'll be able to hand over your documents that will show the financial position of your farm. And the bank would also do their own evaluation and give you some money or the money that you request. So records are very important. Records are also tied to okay, there are a lot of farm records. There are a lot of records in the farm. So they are tied to how you manage your employees, how you manage your resources, and also maintaining your potential base. If you have a farm, are you doing the right things on the soil to maintain or sustain productivity?
Actually, that was my next objective.
Oh, yes.
On maybe are there types of special records that a farmer should keep? Because
Yes.
you began by
Yeah.
telling us that anybody can be a farm manager,
Yes.
so long as you've entered into an agri enterprise.
Yes.
For example, like the farmer who is watching us right now,
Yeah.
and maybe they want to begin farming. Let's say like they want to keep some goat, they want to keep some cattle, they want to do maybe some vegetable farming.
Yes.
So we've seen it is very important for them to have farm records.
Yes.
That is why we are saying farm management now is very important.
Yes.
So my next question was, are there special types of records the farmer should keep? For example, let's say maybe their inventory,
Yeah.
and maybe there are some other, maybe like financial and all that. Maybe
Yeah.
you can help us substantiate that for us.
All right. In the farm, there are a lot of records that we keep.
Yes.
And every manager, and I've told you that all of us should be managers. Right there from our homes and what we do at home, what we produce. The greatest challenge that we have always had in our homes is that we don't keep any record.
Sure.
You know, a farmer who is keeping like 10 chicken, that farmer gets, if all of them are laying eggs, those are like 10 eggs every day. If you go to a month, that is how many eggs? 10 times 30 days. That is 300 eggs. How many crates are those? So you know, the same person, if he does some projection, like 300 eggs in a month, how many eggs would there be in a year? So by doing that, if you are able to do that, because 300 times 12 gives you 3,600 eggs. So that translates to, if that is kienyeji times 20 shillings. That is almost 100,000, 72,000 was there about. So I'm saying that there are really no special records that I'm saying that are difficult that we cannot keep. The only thing is that we have not tried keeping. So if I can touch, nigusie tu kidogo ni kwamba we have records like the daily farm records that will say that there were 5 employees that were employed on a daily wage of 350. So those are daily farm records. We have records of farm implements and equipments. Yeah, that one, if you have a tractor, you have mowers, you have threshers, you have machines. So those are the records. We also have records of agricultural inputs. So records of agricultural inputs, you know, if you are a good farm manager, you must separate those records. Sure. So you just do in your file, you label the files, and you separate each one of them. What I'm saying is that not all this that I'm giving you are the entire records. There are details. Like, for example, when I say records of agricultural inputs, you know, there are certain things that are consumables, like fertilizers. Those are inputs, seeds, and the rest. So you can still derive some small records from the main record file. We also have records of livestock and livestock production. We also have records of animal feeds, you know. We also have production records. So when we say production records, you will see, you can even get that and draw a graph of how production is growing or diminishing. We also have records of farm use that contains the data of land that was prepared, the number of plots of acres, okay, all that. We have expenditure records in the farm. We also have workers records. Workers records, in other words, is labor records. We also have vehicle records for those that have vehicles. Especially maybe for transport and such things. We also have sales records. What I can say generally is that every farm is unique. Where we are in the university, for example, and where I am specifically, there are certain records that I cannot keep, but there are other farms that will keep more records than I do. So every farm is unique in its own way. So we also have health records, breeding records. You know, all these helps you to trace what you do in the farm. Every single enterprise in the farm, you know, will be guided by a record, or the record will show where it stands at any given point. So we have a range of records. Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to a point where the farmer who is watching us right now,
yes,
maybe the farmer is a daily farmer, or maybe a poultry farmer,
yes,
or a vegetable farmer,
yes,
and the farmer does not keep records at all.
Yes.
What would be that kind of a scenario?
Yes, like I said before, that records are important for planning, and the saying goes that if you fail to plan, then what are you doing?
You're planning to fail.
Then you're planning to fail. So Ken, if for example Ken has 5 dairy animals, the dairy animals on daily basis give an average of 10 liters of milk. 10 liters of milk on daily basis translates to 50 liters. And 50 liters at 50 shillings per liter gives you 2,500 daily. That tells you if you are not planning, you can really destroy, you can really spend the 2,500 shillings every day without saving anything. You are not keeping a record of when this animal is giving you 10 liters and today it's giving you 3 liters. Why the drop? Why the drop? You'll always be struggling against a mass of activity that would have been very easy for you to organize. So if you are a good farm manager, you must organize your records in such a way that you are able to follow every detail. If you are a dairy farmer, for example, I expect that you should be having, if you are not trained, you should be inviting at least once in a while a professional who will look at your animals, even if they are not sick. They look at your animals and tell you something that you need to know or discover before something happens. Even the Bible says that a wise son sees danger from far and escapes. But a fool will wait until the danger is here with him. So what I'm saying is that if you don't keep any record, I'm telling you, hell will break loose someday and you can lose all the animals. Records are also important in some way. If you are watching the news some months ago, there is a member of parliament of this country who is keeping dairy animals. So the dairy animals, in a day, they were fed with some feeds. Okay, the usual thing. 22 animals, they fell and died. 22 dairy animals. And these dairy animals on average are giving him 25 liters of milk. So 25 liters of milk. In a day, 25 times 22 animals. You can just imagine. Now, if he didn't keep any record, he wouldn't have known which feed he used or which kind of feeds that he used that caused the poisoning. Because, okay, the story was that the animals died out of food poisoning. And because of that, the company was traced. I think the animals were replaced to the exact value. Yeah, so records are also important for such risks. Yes.
Okay, we are moving on well. I
Yes.
believe that you're still learning even as you continue to watch us. And even before we go for a short break,
Yes.
you'll tell us on the roles of a farm manager.
Yeah.
Then from there we'll get to our big questions for this evening.
Yes.
And at least we are moving on well. So what are the specific roles of farm manager? Now that I know, because I'm a farmer, because you're also a farmer, you're
Yeah.
supposed to keep records. You are a farm manager. So what are the roles of a farm manager exactly?
All right. The roles of a farm manager,
Yes.
they are usually a diverse, I can say, roles. But I will give you the formal ones. Huh? One, a manager is a think tank of any organization. He is the overall planner. So he does the planning. He does the planning. He plans that in this season, we shall be using this amount of inputs. We shall be engaged in this kind of production. We shall keep this level of inputs, and we will give this amount of labor. That is planning. He also must have at the back of his mind that if this fails, what happens? So he has to have always a plan B, so that, every farmer has got an objective. Yes. So he always works towards the objective. Another role of a farm manager is organizing. For things to move on, there must be an organizer of things. In the farm, there are some that are tilling, there are some that are feeding animals, there are some that are on machines, there are some that are running, there are visitors that are here. So that is why always in any farm, you must, at least make an appointment, because the manager is not always in the office. I can say that a manager is almost always in the field. If you must be good, you must be out. Because if you depend on information from outside without taking yourself out, then you'll be surprised when things begin to fail. So he also directs. A farm manager is involved in directing. He gives directions every day. And he's the sole authority at that point. But, much as he's the authority, he doesn't show that he is that. But he tries to direct without trying to be like Rav. Because, some of them that are not good does that. So he also does coordination. So he coordinates between different activities that are occurring in the farm. He also keeps records. So that is also an activity of the farm manager. He must keep records. Because how else? If they say, for example, today that Ken is the farm manager of Destiny Farm, Destiny Agricultural Farm, and they come today and tell you that the farm manager has taken 5 million Kenya shillings, how will you defend yourself, Ken? Yes, bring the records. Let them bring their proof. You also go out with your proof. Yes, where is the 5 million that I have stolen? Yes, the records. You'll forgive me, but the current scenario where we have our health CS being accused, there are a lot of allegations threatening across the media. There is a CS, there is a principal secretary, and such kind of information, you know. Now, if we are accusing him and he doesn't have any record, how? You know, he'll just go to court, and from court straight to jail. So that is very important for any operation. Eh? Yeah, the records are very important there.
Okay, we are moving very well. And now to our big question this evening is, as a farmer, what kind of records do you keep?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What kind of records do you keep? That's our big question this evening. Remember that you can send us your comment via the number that is appearing at the very bottom end of your screen. Yes. You can also find us on Facebook at Destiny TV Kenya. Comment via the comment text box on and we shall be reading them here. And even some of the questions that have been receiving along other programs, we shall be able to bring them on board today, because I collected a lot of questions regarding farm management, and Mr. Kirui will be telling us more and more. So stay tuned. Shortly after the break, we'll be looking more into what makes you to be a good farm manager. Basically, we are going to look at the qualities of a farm manager. Can you be a good farm manager? Can I be a good farm manager? So we'll know that shortly after the break, so don't go far.